Welcome to lecture 3, and here we'll be talking about instance variables and class variables. So remember, we talked about objects. So an object is also an instance, and then an object can be generated from a template, or a class. And then we give an example of a template. Imagine you have a mold, and then you want to make 3 blocks from that mold. You would have to pour a mixture of water, sand, and cement into that mold. And then after some time, you have your block, which is an instance of that mold or an object of that mold. So you can create objects, you can create instances from that template. And then so we'll be looking at this. And then, so what differentiates an instance variable? So anytime you say an instance is an object. So what differentiates an object property from a class property? So that's what we're going to be looking at in this class. And then you can see belong to a specific instance of a class. So an instance variable, so anytime you say an instance variable, it means an object property. So properties that are unique to that object. That's what they call instance variables. Properties that are unique to that object. And then what are class variables? These are variables, these are properties that are unique to that class. And let's go to our code so that we'll also see how it works here. So you can see this is a property, and this is also a matrix. Name is a property, matrix number is a property, and that is unique to an instance. How is it unique? For example, student 1 has got a unique name, John, and then student 2 has got a unique name, Dio. You can see that name is unique. John is unique to student 1. Dio is also unique to student 2. So these are what. So name is an instance property or instance variable. The same thing, matrix number is also unique to each student. You can never see two students with the same matrix number. It's unique. So that makes it an instance variable or instance property. So name and matrix number are what? They are instance properties. Because John, so student 1 has got 2 properties, 2 instance properties, name and matrix number. And what has been assigned to name is John, and what has been assigned to matrix number is 1, 2, 3, 4. The same thing for student 2. Student 2 has got 2 instance properties, name and matrix number, and the name and what has been assigned to name is Dio, and what has been assigned to student 2's matrix number is 5, 6, 7, 8. So how do you create a class property given an instance? So a class property will look like this. You would always declare it outside. Just below this this line. Then you come here and say, okay, well, let's imagine we have, say, university name, university name. So university name, let's say James University. James University. So this is a class variable. So you can put a comment here and say this is a class variable, and these are instance variables. Instance variables. So instance variable is also an instance variable, but this is a class variable. And then one unique thing about the class variable is that it cuts across. It cuts across all objects created. And what that means is that if I come here and say print student 1 dot university name, and then I say student2 dot university name, you will see that it cuts across. It will print the same thing, student2. And then I can also come here to use the class name to print. I can also come here to say, can use the class name to access, print dot student name. So just run it. Let's see how it works. Yes, you can see. So it means that student1, once you declare a class variable, it cuts across. What it means is that that class name will be shared by objects that have been created. So this object can also access the class variable. This object can also access the class variable, and that class itself can also access the class variable, and it cuts across. And if, for example, if this, you can also say student, let's say student dot university name. You can also change it from the class. Let's say we made a mistake here. It's not James University. It is Badi University. And then if I come here, repeat the printout here, you will see that would also take effect. You can see, yes, once a class changes the class variable, it will reflect on other objects. So you can see the uniqueness of class variables. It cuts across. I mean, it's just like, I mean, two kids sharing the same surname. Yeah, so if the surname is changed by the father, it will affect the kids. Yeah, so I can say kid1 dot surname. So imagine they share, say, James as surname, that would print James. Say kid2 dot surname, that would also print out the surname. The same thing here too. Imagine you're in 100 level James University, and I say student1 dot university name, that would be James University. And then if I call another student in fourth year, I say student2 dot university name, that would also print the university name. So it cuts across. So one thing about a class variable is that class variables, a class variable is shared amongst the objects. And then this is what we mentioned here. So your instance variable belongs to an instance, but your class variable is shared by all instances. You can see. So the same value for all objects, and that's what was reflected in this code. So once you alter the class variable using a class name, that the student has a class name dot, you're updating the class, the class variable. Once you do that, it will also affect other objects too. Yeah, so your class variable cuts across, your class variable is shared amongst all the objects, but your instance variable is unique to each attribute, to each object. And what it means is that if, for example, I change the instance variable here, so if I say matric number, if I change his matric number to this, if I change the instance variable to this, it will not affect student2. Student2's matric number would still be intact. So you can see that doesn't affect the matric number of student2. So a class variable, once you change the class variable, it affects other objects. But if you change the instance variable of an object, it only affects itself. It doesn't affect other objects. I hope this is clear. Thank you very much, and I see you in the next class.